Let's talk about closing costs because I know this part can be super confusing for a lot of people, especially if you're buying or selling and you don't know what to expect. Hey there, Apryle Borst here with Arizona Best Real Estate. And when you're buying or selling a home, there's going to be costs involved beyond just the price. So we're going to break it down really simply, whether you're a buyer or seller, and I might go a little fast. So if you have any questions, let me know. So first is buying a home. There's going to be some upfront costs that you need to plan for even before you get to closing. That can include things like your home inspection. The great news is there are some inspection companies that you may be able to wait until closing to pay for that. However, most of the time it's going to be paid for out of pocket right after you make the appointment during your due diligence period. Now, after that period, there's the appraisal, and that normally is going to be paid for upfront too, because the lender is going to need to send an appraiser out to confirm the home's value. Then you've got things like homeowner's insurance if you're doing a loan. You'll typically pay for the first year at closing on that one. You've got property taxes that are prorated depending on timing, and those are also paid at closing. You've also got lender, title, and escrow fees, and sometimes HOA fees. There's also something that you might not think about, but buyers may also be responsible for their buyer's agent compensation, depending on what's negotiated with your agent and whether the seller is willing to help cover any of that as well. Altogether, I would say standard closing costs usually are about 2 to 3% of the home's purchase price. However, that is not including any buyer's agent compensation that you would be responsible for. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so now let's talk about closing costs if you're a seller. The biggest one that you're going to pay for is the agent commission. Of course, you'll cover your own listing agent's compensation, but depending on what was negotiated, you may also contribute to the buyer's agent compensation as well. You're also going to pay your title, escrow fees, possibly HOA fees, any outstanding liens, repairs, or seller concessions that you agree to take care of during the inspection negotiations, or seller concessions agreed during the initial offer. Now, here's a quick side note. If you're wondering what seller concessions are, I have a video that explains all about it, so take a look out for that. Now, sellers, you don't usually pay for costs up front. They're deducted from your final amount at closing, except for any repairs, of course, that you agreed to fix during the due diligence period that you paid for. So bottom line, whether you're buying or selling, know your numbers ahead of time because it gives you more control and less stress. If you're not sure what specific costs might look like, let's go ahead and walk through it together. And if you want the full breakdown of who pays for what, I actually have a cheat sheet for you that maps it all out, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA, or cash transactions line by line. So just reach out, I'll get that to you. Again, I'm Apryle Borst, here to make all of this make sense with no pressure, no confusion, just straight answers. So give me a call if you have any questions. Talk to you soon. Thanks, bye.